So, welcome to the Salon Concerts at Stern. This is the Sunday afternoon program that we have today. And we are very pleased to have Reut Ben Ze'ev, Mezzo Soprano from Israel, has most recently been featured at the Cannes Film Festival and the Toronto Film Festival, singing two of the songs on the soundtrack of Natalie Portman's directorial debut motion picture, A Tale of Love and Darkness, which is based on Amos Oz's autobiographical novel. Upcoming projects for her include an Israeli-American co-production of Israeli songs with their original orchestrator, doing new orchestrations for her, I believe. And she has appeared throughout Canada, Europe, Israel, the United States, Lincoln Center, among other places. She's a real champion of new music. I'm pleased to say that she premiered something of mine and did an absolutely wonderful job on it. And we'll hear her shortly. Peggy Kampmeier, who is sitting at the piano, not surprisingly is the pianist for the afternoon. And she's a soloist, collaborative artist, and also an educator. She performs regularly in New York with the Orchestra of St. Luke's, the Orpheus Chamber Orchestra. She's appeared with the St. Petersburg Chamber Orchestra, the one in Russia, not the one in Florida. The New York Philharmonic Ensembles, Metropolitan Opera Chamber Ensembles, and has been recorded on a number of major labels, including Deutsche Grammophon. She teaches piano at Princeton University and is the artistic director of contemporary performance at the Manhattan School of Music. Those are the performers, and now something about the composer. So they're going to do a program of arrangements of Yiddish folk songs by Stefan Wolpe. Wolpe was born in Berlin in 1902, started studying music at the age of 14. He was also interested in visual arts and studied at the Bauhaus, which was the big school of visual arts in Germany. The music he wrote in the early part of his career used a lot of avant-garde techniques, including Schoenberg's 12-tone methods. But he was also influenced by the idea of what was called Gebrauchsmusik, which is music for social uses, social functions. And he was a socialist. This is relevant because he was a socialist, and it's relevant because he wrote music for workers' unions and for communist theater groups. And in those pieces, he wrote in a much more popular, accessible style. So he was writing music that was very advanced, avant-garde music, and then also music that was very, we would consider straightforward and relatively simple for these two different groups of performers and audiences. In 1938, he fled the Nazis. Actually, it was before that, in 1936, I believe. Went through Romania and Russia on his way to Austria, and from there he went to Palestine. And in Palestine, he wrote songs for the kibbutzim. And again, that was in a popular style, but the other music he was writing at the same time was in a more advanced style, and in fact, that's what got him fired from his job at the Palestine Conservatory of Music. You're writing music that's too advanced, too complicated, goodbye. So in 1938, he moved to New York. And in the 1950s, again, following his lifelong interest in the visual arts, he became associated with the abstract expressionist painters who were here at the time. In 1956, he was appointed to the faculty of C.W. Post College on Long Island, and he taught many prominent composers in his years teaching there. He died here in New York in 1972, basically on the eve of a 70th birthday concert for him. Do you remember that?
No.
Okay, that was one of those things where I was thinking, oh great, Wolpe concert. Turns into a Wolpe memorial concert, not so nice. Elliott Carter, who was a great American composer, it's still hard not to say living composer, wrote about, as a little memorial after Wolpe died, he wrote, he had comet-like radiance, conviction, fervent intensity, penetrating thought on many levels of seriousness and humor, combined with breathtaking adventurousness and originality. All this marked the inner and outer life of Stefan Wolpe as they do his compositions. So there's something about Wolpe. And now I will turn this over to people who are more comfortable on the stage than I am.
Thank you. You faked it well. Thank you. Hi. So let's take you to 1925, Berlin, the Weimar Republic. I don't know if you've seen the movie Cabaret, the movie, the stage. That was the scene. That was life then. A lot of fun, a lot of cabarets, cafes, dancing clubs, tangos and foxtrot. American jazz was basically sweeping over Europe, and Berlin was big into jazz. Josephine Baker, famous singer, was performed in 1925 in Berlin. Bertolt Brecht and Kurt Weill were working on the Three-Penny Opera. And Stefan Wolpe, he was in his 20s, probably 23 at the time, grew up in Berlin, as Dr. Glaser said. Professor Glaser? Dr.
Maybe.
Huh?
Fine.
Okay. And Stefan Wolpe was friends with Kurt Weill. They were all hanging out with Kurt Weill, with Schoenberg. Kurt Weill was working at the time on his satirical opera cabaret called The Rise and Fall of Mahagoni, which is a combination of cabaret and opera. This song is called Alabama Song. Oh, show us the way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why. For we must find the next whiskey bar. For if we won't find the next whiskey bar, I tell you we must die. I tell you we must die. I tell you, I tell you, I tell you we must die. And so his composition teacher was Ferruccio Busoni, and he wrote a very different style. So, what brings a young secular Jewish man who's hanging out with, jazz, cabaret, writing for the theater, and is very much into very sophisticated avant-garde musical language of Schoenberg and Busoni, into Jewish folk songs, to Yiddish folk songs? Well, he's invited to a house concert with a singer from Odessa called Rachel Ermolnikov, and she specialized in Jewish folk songs. So he probably heard these songs sung in something like that kind of style. Let's listen to it. Okay. His first song is called Unter dem Kindswigele, and this is Rose Padden. This was actually a recording that was done in the 50s.
Unter dem Kindswigele steht dafür weiß Siegele, du Siegeles gefunden handeln, Raschenkis mit Mandeln, Raschenkis mit Mandeln, sehr süß, mein Kind wird sein, gesehnt im Frieden. Gesundes, tiefstes Heil, mein Kind wird leben.
So apparently Wolpe was smitten by this woman, by her singing, by the songs, and he actually asked her to perform with him. He was gonna arrange. Actually, he arranged 13 different songs for her. Out of them, we have 6 that survived, and asked her to perform with him. So, what would he do, considering all those different musical languages that we just heard? This is a lullaby, a cradle song, filled with love, right? A mother is singing to her little baby. The mode is called Ahava Rabba, great love. It's a mode that we use in the Saturday morning prayer. Jews use in the Saturday morning prayer. of that. With that melody in that mode, here's this rocking cradle. Gives to the piano.
So we'll move on to our second song now, which is this is the second of 5 that we will perform for you today. This one is called By My Mama's Heisele. And we also have a recording of this, just to get the tune in our ears. I think it'd be good to hear the recording first.
So we can hear very simple melodies.
So that recording that we have here, that's the singer is accompanied by the accordion, which is a very typical instrument for accompanying folk songs. Guitar would be another one. Both of them are portable, and you can take them inside, outside, wherever you happen to be, and just start singing. But of course, Wolpe was writing for the piano, which is much less portable. The piano is a pretty complicated instrument as well. We've got 88 keys and endless possibilities of how to use them. So this particular song, I guess we think together, this is the most complicated of the ones that we're doing for you today. The vocal part, again, is the folk song proper, but the piano part is kind of crazy. So my job as the partner, the musical partner here, is to figure out what to bring out and what to focus on. Let me just play a couple measures so we hear various elements that are going on. there's a little bit of chaos there. So as we were rehearsing, we started to think of analogies and some things that came to mind. We both have kids, so we were thinking about those I Spy books or Where's Waldo, something like that. So looking at this, a bunch of dots on the page, how do I find what's important? And then once you start finding it and hearing it, you almost can't not see it, just like when you figure out one of those puzzles. So interestingly enough, in the beginning of this song, this setting, and at the end, he embeds the folk tune in the piano part. And I have to say, when I first learned that, I didn't get that. It took me a couple weeks to really figure this out. So I'm going to play it a little bit slower and just bring out the melody, and we'll hear the same song that we just heard on the recording. Loses the melody in the piano part. This is typical for song accompaniments because it would be pretty boring if the piano just played the exact same thing as the singer the whole time. So there's various ways that composers deal with this, and the very next thing that he chooses is a counter melody. So I'm playing something that partners with the folk song melody, but it's different. So it sounds like this. Still sounds like a tune, but it's not the folk tune anymore. And then we have a couple parts where I say it's like the jazz pianist gone wild. So it's like I'm commenting, but I'm not really doing anything that's resembling the melody, and that's something like this. And then at the end of the piece, we come back to a place where we'll hear the tune, but Wolpe is such an inventive composer, he did it completely differently. He flipped the hands around, put the tune in the left hand, and put accompaniment on top. So it sounds like this at the end. We're about to perform it, but I think it'd be good to just hear a little bit about the text. So,
well, it's wonderful, and it's just how the text actually has to do with the way he chose to set the piano, of course. So the beginning is like by my mama's Heisele, right? When my mother is, by my mother's house, I'm standing. The girl is telling the story of just describing where she is and how sad she is. And so we hear the melody of this, of course, the singer is telling the story, and the melody, it's very just expressing it, is in the piano. Then the second and the third verse, she's describing the things that the awful guy did to her, how he left her and how he made her feel awful. And so there's a complete disconnect between the singer, the woman, and the guy who's doing all these awful things. Maybe, I don't know, but you could think about it, just two completely separate worlds. And then at the end she's saying, Oy vey mamishi, mommy, she's going back to her mother to find comfort, and the piano and the voice meet again. So it's just very cool. And I just wanted to mention, I don't know if anybody noticed, I don't know if anybody speaks Yiddish, but in the song, the recording, she says, by my mama's Stibele, and the setting is by my mama's Heisele, which is very typical of folk songs. Everybody has their little, how you say, a little house in your shtetl. Depends where you come from Russia, from, Poland. So that's so cool. So let's hear. By my mama's Heisele, bin ich mir gestorben, bin ich mir gestorben nach ein teuer Leben, ist vorbeigegangen. die blonde Hure, mit die blonde Hure, hat gemeint, als Wusseret, ist doch als Wur. Hab gemeint, als Wusseret, ist doch als Wur. Hab gemeint, auf sein Reit, kann man stellen Muigen, kann man stellen Muigen, hat doch mir so ins getun, als mis nur weinen in Trujen, hat doch mir so ins getun, als mis nur weinen in Trujen, roch wei, Mameshi, ach voll, sind ungeheuer mal ihre Vieren, platzt in mir die Gaul. Sind ungeheuer mal ihre Vieren, platzt in mir die Gaul.
Good timing for it. Okay. So the third song, again, has an interesting relationship between the vocal part and the piano part. And this part, some of it could be played with one hand alone. Something like this. So in some ways, less complicated. And again, as we were rehearsing, we tried to imagine, what was he getting at? This reminded us a lot of what in the jazz world they call comping, where the pianist plays rather sparse material and it's really a commentary upon what the singer is doing. And Ray did a good way of showing that. Somebody might be singing or talking and the audience members might...
Yeah? Huh? What? Yeah? Really? So all of this is like, huh? Yeah? Really? Come on! What?
That kind of
So
thing.
it's...
Right. And it's called Alle Menschen tanzen dick. And would you like to say about the story?
Everybody's dancing. It's a wedding song, right? The very, very young groom is waiting to go to the chuppah. And he's really, so everybody's dancing, having fun, laughing, and the poor little thing is probably, 15, 16, 19, I don't know, very young guy. He's probably nervous, right, and scared. And so he's the only one that's basically ruining the party, standing there crying. And everybody's like, why are you crying? Why are you crying? Well, I'm hungry. Well, I'm, tired. Well, it's time for me to do the wedding dance. And slowly, within the complaints, he falls asleep. Alle Menschen tanzen, dicken springen, dicken lachen, dicken singen, dick. In Mäuschele steht's als wehendig. Mäusche, wo's die weinst? Wehen, wo's ich meien, es ist schon Zeit, sie der Chippe zu gehen. Alle Menschen tanzen, dicken springen, dicken lachen, dicken singen, dick. In Mäuschele steht's als wehendig. Mäusche, wo's die weinst? Ich wehen, wo's ich meien, es ist so Zeit, essen zu gehen. Alle Menschen tanzen, dicken springen, dicken lachen, dicken singen, dick. In Mäuschel steht's als wehen, dick. Mäusche, wo's die weinst? Ich wehen, wo's ich meien, es ist schon Zeit, am Mitzwetten zu gehen. Alle Menschen tanzen, stets als Venendik. Moische, Moische, wuss die weinst. Ich wein, wuss ich meien, es ist schon Zeit, schlufen zu gehen. So here we are at the last two songs in the cycle. Like most folk songs, they are strophic. What is a strophic song? A strophic song is basically that the melody repeats, and the words change. So each verse, for example, most folk songs are strophic songs. We'll give you an example with very much apropos Pesach, Go Down Moses, for example. Only find the words. Okay, here we go. When Moses, Israel was in Egypt land, let my people go. Oppressed so hard they could not stand, let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt land, tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. Second verse. Thus said the Lord, old Moses said, let my people go. So you get the gist of it, right? But all of these songs that we sang are actually strophic, but the difference is that the arrangements in these last two songs are strophic as well, meaning the exact same melody in the voice, exact same accompaniment. Wie soll kann ich listig sein? How can I be happy? Another joyful Jewish song. How can I be happy when all my paths are ruined and everything reminds me of her beautiful face? I eat and drink and I can sleep at night, but my heart is heavy with thoughts. And maybe you could hear those heavy thoughts in that little postlude or coda that Peggy will play in the piano part. Wie soll kann ich listig sein, als verstellen in mir meine Wegen, als der Mann mich sein Schöpfen, wie soll kann ich leben? Ich trink in Schlaf mein Nacht, nur mein Herz ist mir verbracht. Wie soll kann ich listig sein, als verstanden in mir meine Wegen, als der Mann mich sein Schöpfen, wie soll kann ich leben? Es kommt geflogen die gildene Pave. The Golden Peacock is coming from very foreign, far lands. This is really a lament of a bride, of a woman who is very sad because she feels trapped in her own life. She has a very mean husband and a very mean mother-in-law. And that image, the fact that the poem is beginning with the image of the golden peacock, which is a very poetic and used a lot in Jewish literature. It's really an image that comes to symbolize the Yiddish culture and hope for the Jewish people. So this golden epave, this golden peacock, has lost its golden feather. So another way to read this poem is that the bride is the Jewish people, which is very much like in the Song of Songs, Shir Shirim. The bride is the Jewish people. The mother, her own mother, what she's looking for is the Shekhinah, God, the feminine word for God. And this is, and she's, just very sad and feel trapped. This is also in the Ahava Rabbah mode. And again, the piano has the last word, leaves us with a very unsettled, unresolved sense, almost alarming 2 chords that you will hear at the end. It feels somewhat like a prophecy of what's going to happen less than 10 years later. Es kimt geflogen, die gilderne Pave flieh nach fremden Land, flieh nach fremden
Steh